Do you really need to stretch the back of your thighs? Or can this actually be dangerous? Yeah, it could be dangerous if you're doing it like this, for example, or like that, or like that, or this. You see those stretches recommended all over the place. They're probably not just only wasting your time, but also most likely they're stretching your sciatic nerve. And that's bad news, especially for your back. Let me get my skeleton. There you go. So the sciatic nerve sits right behind the pelvis right here. I don't know if you can see it in yellow, and runs all the way down to the thigh, onto the back of the foot. So it controls all the sensations and the movement of the back of the leg. But not only that, over on the top, the sciatic nerve is attached into the spinal cord and runs all the way up to the brain. So when you're doing that kind of stretch, or this kind of stretch, you're pulling onto the sciatic nerve all the way along through the back and up to the brain. Nerves do not like to be stretched, especially if you have some aging of the spine, some dysfunctions, or even if you don't, it is not something that you want to challenge. Nerves are not like muscles, you cannot build up their strength. But wait, you might still need to loosen up your tight hamstrings for running efficiency and to prevent yourself from running injuries. So how do you do that safely without risking to irritate your sciatic nerve? First, let me show you why runners need elasticity and hamstrings. Did I just say hamstrings? Hamstrings. I'll show you how to stretch them properly. It's only one stretch, I don't want to waste your time, but you should do it. And as a little bonus at the end, I'll show you one little trick to loosen up your hamstrings without needing to stretch. For all you stretching haters, salut to Safe Motions. I bet you're not even stretching your hamstrings that much, but the back of your thigh feels tight and you know you should do something about it. Ah no, I've got you ready. Your hamstrings go from the back of the pelvis all the way to the bottom of the leg. So they serve to bring the leg backwards and to bend the knee this way. But for runners, what they do is, as your foot is about to touch the floor, it's going to decelerate the extension of your knee. So it's going to prevent you from straightening your knee all the way out, right before your foot touches the floor. While it's doing that deceleration action, it's loading up, storing some energy, just like in a rubber band. Your leg is straightening up, going forward, and it's stretching the hamstring, storing some energy to then get it to release as your foot touches the floor and the heel picks up to get into the next phase. So your hamstring needs to stretch and release, and stretch and release. So you see how it needs to be responsive, but also elastic, which does not mean it needs to be loose and long like this, because then that eccentric contraction of the hamstring is going to be a lot less effective if everything is just floppy. So what we want is hamstrings that are elastic and responsive as it loads energy, stores it, and then releases it for propulsion. If they're too tight, for example like this, then you can see that your leg won't be able to reach as far. So your stride, the length of your step, will be shorter. That's because you won't be able to reach as far in that step because your hamstring's too tight, so you can't straighten the leg. So then your stride is going to be shorter. Instead of going all the way there, it's going to stop kinda here, and you're stuck. So you do need hamstrings length. Aside from that, if you have tightness more on one side than the other, say the right side is just tighter in the hamstrings than the left side, then this has shown to be a very good predictor of injuries, especially in the knees and the back. So you do want to fix those asymmetries in your legs. Here's how I suggest to do it specifically for runners without risking to stretch the sciatic nerve. The best stretch in my opinion. And here's the bonus, for you stretch haters, this is what you can do if you don't like stretching and if you're sitting. All you need to do, sitting on maybe an office chair at home, you're going to use your fists, closed fists like this, or a tennis ball or a massage ball. You're going to put that fist underneath your thigh on the hamstring, and you're just going to straighten your leg onto the thigh. That should put the pressure of your fist onto the side from the bottom upwards, and as you straighten the leg, you should find some really nice, sweet and tender spots. So work on those, straighten the legs, go in and out nice and comfortably as many times as you feel necessary until you feel like your hamstring is a little bit looser. Now, like many things, what's important is the timing of your stretch or your loosening session. For this particular thing, you can do it, in my opinion, before you run or after you run. before you run, because I think this can make you reach a little bit further without overstriding, which means your strides will be longer, which means you'll run just as fast with less effort, or you'll run faster. Or you could do this after as well as a cool down session just to recover a little bit. You could also do that outside of your running workouts. It all works. If you're wondering when's a good time to stretch in general, should you stretch before you run, after your run, during your run, outside of your runs? Well, almost all of them are correct and incorrect. So just watch this video to find out a little bit more about it. In my opinion, it's pretty important to understand. I'll see you there. À bientôt.